Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Okay, Aaron, since this topic of today's show was your idea, remind me again how you came up with the topic.
Okay, so just real quick, my son Preston, who runs cross country, is starting to train for the upcoming season, and those first couple of runs have been a little slow, been a little rough, and I've just tried to tell him, hey son, you gotta start somewhere.
Ooh, well, I like the sound of this already.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's get started. Radio show number 293, you gotta start somewhere in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and four-time author, Tony Walker.
As a retirement planning specialist who has met in person with over 15,000 savers, the one concern that is on the mind of those savers who are thinking of retiring or have recently retired is this: where is the best place to get started in making sure that I'll have enough money to retire? It's a great question and one that is totally different for different people. In other words, there is certainly no one-size-fits-all answer as to how much someone will need in retirement. For instance, believe it or not, I have several hundred clients who, based on their age, their spending habits, and their lifestyle, live just fine on Social Security and a little bit of interest. On the other hand, I have many clients who do not only need Social Security to meet expenses, but they also need to draw quite a bit of money from their 401k plans and IRAs to live comfortably in retirement. So whether somebody has a need for a lot of income in retirement or someone who doesn't, there's one common denominator that exists between them both. Any saver who is retired or planning to retire soon must start with the first step of understanding something I call cash flow. So, how do we begin this first step and most crucial step in retirement planning? Well, today we're going to find out. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, the annuity king himself, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary Tony Walker. And today, we're going to take a hint from America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, and use the example of his son, Preston, and the exploits of long-distance running and how you got to start somewhere. So before we get into the show, let me introduce officially, sitting over there producing our show this morning is America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing real well, and as we record this show on July 18th, 2022, when did Preston this year start his training for cross country, Aaron?
Well, we started about a month and a half ago. Cross country season, it's a sport just like any other sport. It has a season, and its season is roughly around the same time as football season. So it's in the late summer, early parts of fall.
Okay. Well, so how's it coming along with him?
He's doing really well, like you were saying in the intro, I got this idea, Preston and I started, we took the winter off, which was kind of funny. He wanted to start in February, and I was like, son, look, I love you, but, you're not running for scholarship. I'm not getting out there and running in 7-degree weather, and it's cold and rainy and everything else.
Well, that's a key thing. So you were running with him.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm with him kind of as a coach, mentor, trying to push him.
So it's kind of like retirement planning, kind of the same thing. I think I was just talking to Gina. She just our media buyer here at Worry-Free Productions, but she had dinner the other night with a friend, she was saying, and the friend was asking about our services. This is interesting. This is coming up. And the friend was like, well, wait a minute. You all are actually going to meet with me and kind of come alongside me, and I'm actually going to meet with Tony. And Gina said, basically, when Gina said, yeah, you'll be meeting with Tony, I think she was shocked. But I think that's the power of having someone, a mentor, or someone who can kind of push you along. And folks, that's kind of the topic today. Many of you are uncertain about retirement. Maybe you're thinking of retirement. Maybe you just retired and you've misplaced the most important key ingredient, one that the financial world never talks about, and it's where you get started first before you should ever even think about retirement, and it's called cash flow. I call it retirement cash flow, or RCF. So today what you're going to learn is how do you monitor the amount of money you need coming in what we call the front door versus the expenses you will incur in retirement, which we call the back door. So good stuff coming up. So if you're retired or thinking of retiring soon, this first step of you got to start somewhere is going to be really crucial to you enjoying a worry-free retirement. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Wondering how annuity peddlers can offer bonuses of up to 15 or even 20% on your money? Well, as the old saying goes, if it sounds too good to be true, there's always a catch. Here's my thoughts. Don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. Get a free second opinion from one of the leading writers of annuities in the country, Tony Walker Financial. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-WALK. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. In case you're just joining us, our theme is you got to start somewhere. And just briefly, Aaron, in the break, it was interesting. You were talking about this notion of many people think, and until you told me this, I haven't done any long distance running, by the way. So I would think if I went out and started running 5 or 6 miles, my tendency would be to look down because I don't want to trip or stumble over something. But what were you saying in training most long distance runners are trained to do?
Yeah, one of the things when people, get into that exercise bug or whatever, and they start doing their cardio, start wanting to jog or, whatever, a lot of people have a tendency to start looking about, 3 to 5 feet in front of their feet. So in essence, they're kind of looking down, and that's actually doing two things that you don't want to happen. It's actually cutting off your air circulation, so you're not breathing as deep, you're not getting as good of a breath as you need, but also you're not looking to see what's in front of you. So in the past couple of months when Preston and I have been running, I've been trying to tell him, like, head up, keep your head up, keep your head up, keep your head up. Look, you got to look and see what's coming ahead. You don't want to wait. You don't want to be 5 feet from a drop off or something like that, or a car that's parked on the side of the road and run into it or whatever. You got to look ahead.
Well, that's really interesting. And retirement, folks, is a lot like that. Yeah, while you have to plan for today, you have to kind of look ahead and keep your head up. And one way we have helped people do that, and what the financial world would tend to say is, well, yeah, it's products. You just need products, or just invest in this annuity and this bonus, or let us manage your money. We've made a gajillion dollars for our clients over the years. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of things. Well, one of the places you've got to start in retirement planning to feel really comfortable about your decision to retire is something I call an understanding of retirement cash flow. So we have created a document. In fact, we call it the spending plan, and its purpose is to measure what we call the income coming in and the outgo going out. So to use an illustration of this, Aaron, I'm going to kind of jockey with you here on this idea. So let's imagine you've got a house with a front door and a back door, I'm assuming, don't you?
That's right,
okay.
I do.
And do you all normally use the front door or the back door? Some people come in the back door a lot of their own.
Honestly, we come in the back door more just because that's the way our driveway is built. We park and we're right there at the back deck and the back door.
We had a house we used to do that too. So we'll stay with that analogy because it really doesn't matter. But even if you come in the back door, if let's say you all come in there a lot and you kind of leave the door open and it's 95 degrees out and you got the air conditioner trying to cool the house, and let's say in the meantime, Preston's going out the front door a lot and he forgets to close the front door, the cost to run the air conditioner with these doors opening up all the time are going to be pretty astronomical.
All that cold AC is just going outside and heating the neighborhood. I used to have a buddy whose dad would say, "Free on, not free air."
I like that.
Shut the door. Free on, not free air.
He sounds like my dad. They would have gotten along. But yeah, so let's stay with this analogy, and we'll go back to the front door, back door concept. So folks, really all retirement planning is you're trying to manage your cash flow. Now, why is this so difficult for people in retirement? Well, let's back up a minute. Let's think about what you've been doing the last 30 or 40 years. So let's say you're 65 and you're just retired or getting ready to retire. For probably 30 to 40 years, you were working for something called a paycheck. Okay? So that paycheck was the money coming in the front door of your house. The reason you didn't really think about that is because you got your paycheck and your employer put all the proper deductions in there. He or she would deduct your state income taxes, your local taxes, your federal taxes, your FICA taxes. If you were contributing to a 401k, that paycheck would show a deduction for your 401k contributions. If you had health insurance provided through your employer, but you had to pay for some of it, that came out. So it really was this nice, neat, and tidy way to manage cash flow. You worked for a gross income. Let's say that was $5,000 a month or whatever it was. All the deductions came out, compliments of your employer's payroll department. They did everything for you. And maybe by the end of all the deductions, you had $2,500, what we would call of net monthly income. So let's go back to this, Aaron, of the front door, back door. So you made $5,000 a month, right? In this example, Aaron, your employer took all these deductions out. So that led a net of $2,500 a month that was automatically deposited in your front door into your bank account. It came into your house. Are you with me?
Got it.
That was your income. Okay. Now back to this whole deal of leaving doors open and AC and all that stuff. But let's say you weren't really paying attention. That money goes to the bank account, and all of a sudden out the back door that month, Jessica and you and the kids didn't think about it, but you spent $3,000. $3,000 went out that back door. It's kind of like that AC. Once it goes out the back door, can you get that money back?
No, it's gone.
Gone forever. So in that case, $2,500 a month came in, $3,000 a month went out. That's what we call negative cash flow. So that's not good. You can't do that forever, right?
Right.
I guess
it's
you
only
could.
It's only gonna what do you say, compound? It's only gonna grow.
Yeah, eventually, and some people don't realize that, and they get into credit card troubles or whatever, but we're just talking about cash flow. So in that example, $2,500 a month came in the front door, $3,000 went out the back door, and what happened was you had a negative cash flow of $500 that month. Now what would an example be of positive cash flow? Let's say you and Jessica realize what you did and you're thinking, oh my gosh, we're down $500. We can't do that. So the next month, systematic amount comes in, Aaron. It's exactly $2,500 a month. You tighten up your belt, and this would be called positive cash flow. You only spend $2,000. $2,000 goes out the back door, so you have a positive cash flow of $500 a month. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. What would neutral cash flow be? Same exact example. Aaron gets all of his things taken out of his paycheck. $2,500 comes into his household. They spend exactly $2,500 a month out the back door. They're back down to zero, but that's what we would call neutral cash flow. You following those, Aaron?
Yep.
Yeah. So positive, negative, neutral. And ironically, a lot of people say, well, yeah, I want positive cash flow. That's what I want in retirement. But actually, the Live Well, Die Broke philosophy that I came up with, ideally, you actually want neutral cash flow, Aaron. Because in retirement, when you think about it, the whole point of retirement, folks, is to spend what you've saved. When you're in the first half of life, or maybe even halftime, you really do want positive cash flow because you have to save more money for contingencies, emergencies. You're not really in a spending pattern just yet. So when we get into what we call retirement, we want neutral cash flow. Well, the point is, how are you going to monitor that? Well, we've created a nifty little tool for you. And by the way, you can go to our website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com and download this. It's absolutely free. You just want to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on the download section, and it's called the Worry-Free Retirement Spending Plan. Now, this is not a budget. We're not trying to budget here. What we're trying to understand is cash flow. And what this will do is help you determine what is the income. That would be the money coming in the front door. And then it's a detailed analysis where it's going to take a little homework on your part, but I'm telling you, this is going to be very helpful to you in making decisions on how much money to spend in retirement. And then you're going to fill out all of the expenses you've got. Then when you get that done, let's say the outgo is more than the ingo, there's more money going out the back door, then you just look at the expenses, Aaron. See what I mean?
Okay.
So in that example, let's say, Aaron, you had planned on spending $20,000 to take a vacation this year. You're going to do an exotic trip with Jessica. And you look at that and you go, whoa, wait a minute. We've got $5,000 this month coming in with that vacation. That means $15,000 is going out. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but we got a $10,000 deficit that month, right?
Right.
If you don't have it in savings, that's going to create what we call a liability. We're going to cover the term liability in a second. So all of these things are so important in retirement planning, and many people just don't understand the concept of cash flow. And this is where we come in at Tony Walker Financial to help you. We're going to help you understand, first of all, the income we're going to be able to produce once you retire, and then you're the one responsible for managing the expenses. So how do we do this? Well, we have to go back to the idea of the paycheck. So now we fast forwarded. This person's 65 we're describing. Well, they don't really have a paycheck anymore, do they, Aaron?
No.
They're not working anymore.
Right.
Yeah, so then you have to determine what deductions you're going to have. Now, the good news is, since we're not really, quote, saving money for retirement anymore, now we're assuming you're retired, we won't have the deduction of a 401k plan. That's good news. So that's less money we'll need. Another deduction we will not have to worry about is something called FICA taxes, which are about 7% of your overall income. We won't have that to worry about, so that's a deduction that's gone. People are surprised by this, Aaron. When you get into Medicare age 65 and above, a lot of times Medicare supplements are cheaper than their health insurance they had at work. So possibly, health insurance premiums go down. Sometimes your federal and state taxes will go down depending on where the income comes through. Again, we have people on staff that can help you understand this at no charge. All of our staff are available for our services at no charge to you. But it goes on and on and on. So what we're trying to do in retirement planning is determine exactly how much income we're going to need to produce from your 401k, your IRA, maybe your other brokerage accounts. That's what a retirement specialist is really doing. If someone is not providing these services we're describing in terms of cash flow planning, folks, they are not a retirement specialist. They might be a good insurance agent, they might be a good annuity peddler, they might be a good broker. That's all well and good, but they're not retirement planning specialists. So the way you know you're working with a retirement planning specialist is, number one, do they provide you a written game plan so you can understand this concept of income coming in the front door and expenses going out the back door? Do they provide that written game plan? If they don't, they're not a retirement specialist. Can they document that they use both products necessary to give you the most flexibility? And those products would be, do they have a really good working knowledge of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, bank products, and annuities? Most people, Aaron, I've found, don't have a good working knowledge of both. They might be advisors that are well-versed in annuities, but those same advisors don't understand anything about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Then you have the flip side. You might have a stockbroker who is very well-versed in stocks and bonds and mutual funds, but has no idea what they're doing when it comes to annuities or retirement planning. So where we fit the bill at Tony Walker Financial, we're well-versed in investments. We're very well-versed in annuities. I personally am well-versed in estate planning, retirement planning. I mean, I've been doing this over 38 years, folks. I've done this a long time. And what you get is the owner of the company, a fiduciary, who's there to oversee the operation of this company, and yes, can and will meet with you in person if you're a prospect for our services. So when I come back, we're going to go through some of the advantages of the cash flow planning we do and how we can help you at Tony Walker Financial get a better handle on it and be more worry-free in retirement as a result. You are listening to the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. You stay tuned. We'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Welcome back, everyone. I am America's favorite financial sidekick, Aaron Ornder, and I just wanted to welcome you back to the Worry-Free Retirement and remind you about a couple of things. So if you're listening to the radio show now and you just tuned in and you think, man, I'd really wish I would have listened to this entire radio show, not a problem at all, folks. All you got to do is go to soundcloud.com. That's soundcloud.com. Okay? And when you're there, right there in the search bar at the very top, just type in the Worry-Free Retirement and click the button and you'll see our awesome bobblehead right there. Just click on that and you can find all of our past radio shows. Okay, Tony, I've got a TNT here for you. It came in anonymously. We don't have a name, but it says this. Tony, I retired 2 years ago and thought things were in pretty good shape, but now, with my retirement accounts down substantially this year and with the price of goods and services through the roof, what can I do to worry less about my finances?
Well, and that's an excellent question, Aaron. I had quite a few appointments in the Louisville office yesterday as we record this show on July 18th, 2022. Who knows, the market may come up by the time. When will the show approximately be on, Aaron?
This show should be on in the beginning of September. I believe it's going to be on September 8th.
Okay, so yeah, by then, who knows, the market may have rebounded. But yeah, these are pretty tumultuous times. This is the first time I've seen stocks and bonds down this poorly. Have a lot of people that are really worried about our economy. Inflation seems to be a little out of control right now. By the way, folks, I've done this a long time. Let me tell you the two things that will affect an economy, bar none. Okay, write this down. Rising oil prices will have a negative impact on the economy, and rising interest rates. And that's what we've got. We got rising interest rates, rising oil prices, and you got a goofy economy right now. They just go hand in hand. I'm sorry. Okay, back to this gentleman's question, though. What can you do if you're sitting there and your account, your 401k is down 20% or whatever it is at this point? Here's some options. You could, depending on your circumstances, this is why you need a game plan, a written game plan that we can provide. Possibly take your lumps and get most of your money out of the market. I don't know if this would be a good idea at this time. Again, time will tell, but I remember, Aaron, in 2008, the market started going down and a lot of people did not get out because they thought we had reached the bottom. Guess what? It dropped even more.
Yeah.
So we don't know where the bottom is. Nobody can time the market, but that would be one option. Again, I'm not telling you to do this, but one option is to say, just get me out of the market. Let me do something safer. You need a game plan, though, before you do that. So don't do that unless you have a written game plan. That's something we can provide you. A second option, take the opposite approach. And this is more of an investor approach, but you might say, you know what, I think these stocks, these mutual funds are on sale. I think it's going to come back and I'm going to hang in there, or I'm going to even buy more, invest more in it, thinking it'll come back. You could do that. I'm not telling you to do that. Again, these are just options.
So is that called timing the market?
That's still timing the market. Okay. Very good, Aaron. Yeah, timing the market is tough, but some people, have been successful at it, but we don't time the market at Tony Walker Financial. We kind of stick to our guns. Even if we have money in the market, we might rebalance and do a few things. We did get out of a bunch of long-term bonds. We knew that was going to be a problem, so we took a lot of people out of bonds, long-term bonds to cash. But anyway, number 3, you could not worry about the future at all and just keep taking money out. This is about cash flow, right? Just keep taking money out the way you're taking it out. I've met people, Aaron, I had 3 different people in yesterday who had all lost parents and they were inheriting money. These people were my age or older. Well, guess what they're thinking about? Wait a minute, my parents are deceased. I just inherited money from my mom or dad. I don't have that much time either. So, and this gets.
I'm going to take $20,000 and go on an exotic trip, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah, the market's down. Yeah, I don't have as much money, but guess what? I'm not going to live forever. This is kind of getting into the live well, die broke philosophy. I just lost my mom and dad. It's reminding me I'm not going to be here forever. May not have my health. So again, option number 3, if you're sitting there with an account down 20 or 30%, you might say, well, the heck with it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm still going to go on and just spend my money. That's another option. 4, get a part-time job to help with some cash flow. I've got a client who has a buddy who does construction work, and he felt like he really needed to go out and make a little extra money, nothing major. Aaron, he said that his buddy said, Jim, I'll call him Jim, you show up anytime at the construction site, I'll pay you. You can work 3 hours, 5 hours. He needs the helper.
Yeah.
And Jim's kind of enjoying, just working a little bit as he wants to, and he's kind of digging this. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities for a little part-time work under your terms. That's what's cool about this. And finally, number 5, you're down 20, 30%, whatever. One of the options is basically you may have to cut back on spending. Some of you are in retirement. We've even got some accounts that are down, and you've been spending a lot of money, and that's fine, but you may have to reevaluate things. That's why we have this spending plan. In fact, if you'd like a free copy of the Worry-Free Retirement Spending Plan, we'll be happy to. You can grab one off the internet. It's at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You'll just go to the download section. You'll find the spending plan. Download that. If you need any help, we can help you. If you don't have access to the internet or you're not comfortable downloading stuff from the internet, you can do this. You can go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or, just call us. Let's do this. Just call us at toll-free number 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. Okay, in our remaining time, just got a few minutes here, I want to go over the importance of understanding our topic today. You got to start somewhere, and the basic understanding of retirement cash flow, or something I call RCF. So what are the keys to making sure that money, more of your money, is heading in the front door and not escaping through the back door? Well, first of all, you have to understand cash flow. And folks, many of you have not had to worry about or understand cash flow because, as we talked about in the previous segment, that was all handled by your employer through the paycheck, all these deductions and automatic deposits, and you just kind of spent right up to whatever you had in checking. Well, now that you're having to manage your own retirement, or you've got somebody like us managing it, you're going to have to understand basic cash flow and make sure that more money is not going out the back door than is coming in the front door, and we can help you with that. You also have to understand how to spend money properly, matched up with the spending, that the income that's coming in. We've already mentioned the download, the spending plan worksheet that'll help with that, so we can get you that. Number 3, in order to truly understand your spending habits, you'll have to recognize something that I realized years ago. It's called the 3 halves of life, and that is this. More than likely, folks, and again, this bears witness to the many people I've met who are way into the second half of life. More than likely, as you go through the second half of life, I know inflation's rampant and cost of goods and services going up, but actually, you will start spending less as you get older. So don't get so hung up on all this inflation and all this bad news. There's a lot of it out there, and I get it, because you still need to draw that line and kind of walk that balance line of enjoying your money before it's too late and realizing that more than likely, as you get older, you're going to spend less money, which is all the more reason you better have a retirement specialist that can kind of monitor your progress along the way. And then finally, step 5, I got 2 more. I'm sorry, Aaron. Step 5, make sure you've at least explored the possibility of what I call mailbox money. Now, what is mailbox money? Well, first of all, mailbox money comes in 3 forms: pensions, Social Security, and private annuities. And we are specialists in mailbox money. We can show you which types of accounts, which type of insurance companies, which type of annuities will provide you the best form of mailbox money based on your situation. So I would highly recommend you get with us to see if mailbox money is something that will help you worry less about money. And finally, many of you are just taking way too much risk. I know in some of our previous episodes we talked about this. The problem with risk is, and it's if you go back to the 3 worst years of the stock market in a row, that was 2000, 2001, and 2002. You know, the problem with those 3 terrible years is most people didn't pay much attention to it, because back in 2000, the majority of baby boomers were still in their working years. They didn't really care the market went down, but they just kind of kept working. Well, it's different now. If you're retired or retiring soon, and let's say we had another 3 bad years in a row, not saying it could happen, but it has happened in the past. So if past is prologue, it's a concern. You've got to take less risk. You can't be spending all this money from these accounts while these accounts are going down, or it's going to be a disaster. So moral to the story, folks, if you don't have a retirement planning specialist, someone who is a fiduciary, who works with stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, bank products, annuities, who understands the world of retirement planning and estate planning, why not? Well, my name is Tony Walker, and I'd like to have that opportunity to talk to you about your situation, and we can do that in one of 2 ways. You can simply right now log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on the Let's Get Started button, or you can give us a call. We'll be happy to set up a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call to see how we might help you. And if we can meet in person, I'll be happy to do that at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. That toll-free number, 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. We'll look forward to talking to you next week. But you remember, between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.